and welcome back to my kitchen. Today we're going to be, or I'm going to be making something fun, I think. So this is an example of one of those recipes that isn't traditionally Arab or Iraqi, but is just kind of inspired by the ingredients and the flavors, and that I think is just makes a really lovely, light, refreshing kind of lunch. So it's basically, you already know by the title, but it's like a burghul roasted vegetable chickpea salad, and I'm going to make a little tahini sauce with it. Tahini sauce is one of those things that there's loads of recipes for, but I'll show you my kind of version, how I like to make it actually. So I've got some burghul here, which if you watched my taboda recipe, I told you a little bit about the different types of burghul, just if it's something, an ingredient that you're not familiar with. And this is just the standard burghul that I said that you cook similarly to rice. And then I've got some chickpeas in here, which I personally really like to soak the chickpeas overnight and just boil them, but of course you can just use a tin. I did measure these out to about 240 grams, which I checked is the same as how much is in a tin. So that's the chickpeas. And then I have got 2 aubergines, a courgette, 2 carrots. I was going to use 2 onions, but this one's quite large, so I'm just going to use 1 red onion, 1 large red onion, a red pepper, and I'm going to add in some fresh herbs, parsley and mint. And then I'm going to keep it really simple in terms of the seasonings and the flavours. I'm just going to add to the burghul a little bit of cumin and a little bit of turmeric. And then I've got obviously some salt and pepper, some olive oil to coat all the vegetables in. And then I have obviously my tahini for my tahini sauce, a lemon, I'm going to use the juice of the lemon, and I've got some sweetener. I've just got golden syrup. I wouldn't recommend this because obviously it's got a lot of nasties in it, but if you have whatever sweetener you have will work. I'm just going to use a little bit to balance out the flavours, and that's it. Let's get into it. So I've just chopped up all my vegetables, put them in a pan, coated them in some olive oil, cooking olive oil. You can use whatever oil you like, vegetable oil, whatever. And then I added some salt and pepper, and I'll come closer so I can show you roughly the size. So I've just chopped them into big-ish kind of chunks. Most of these vegetables, like the aubergine for example, are going to kind of shrink down, so I didn't want them to be too small. And I've had the oven preheating to about 220 degrees, and I'm going to stick them in. I'm not too sure how long they'll take, to be honest, but I'm going to check on them in about 20 minutes and I'll let you know how long they end up taking. And while they're in the oven, I'm going to make the burghul, so I'll show you how I make that as well. Okay, so I've just put that burghul that you saw at the beginning into this pot, and basically how I like to make it is just I'm just going to add in enough water to just cover it. So come closer. The way I kind of measure it is just by sticking my finger in, and if it's like about 1 inch, this much, of water is good for me, I find. And I'm just going to turn it on to number 6, high heat, and I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Sorry, that hesitation was because I wasn't sure where the salt was. I'm using this hipster salt today just because we've got it, but use whatever salt you like. Some black pepper. To be honest, I don't normally add black pepper in, but I kind of forgot myself there and I just added it in. You don't need to add it if you like it. I'm going to add in, I was going to say about a teaspoon of cumin, but somehow we are pretty much out of cumin and I forgot to get more. So I'm say about a teaspoon of cumin, and I'm going to add in also about a teaspoon of turmeric. So that much is good. And I'm just going to mix it about a bit. And once that comes to a boil, I'm just going to stick it on low heat to simmer, cover it and leave it for, it won't take very long, probably about 10-15 minutes or so. So I've got my veggies at the oven now. They ended up taking around half an hour in total, but I did take them out after around 20 minutes and just kind of moved them around the trays a little bit. And I'm just going to let the vegetables cool down for a little bit, and while they do that I'm going to make the tahini sauce. So for that, like I said, you're going to need some tahini, some sweetener, just to, not to make it sweet, but just to balance out the flavour, and some lemon juice. I've got the juice of half a lemon here. Me and Mum are a bit sad because this is the last of our tahini that we got from Arab. It's pretty much the same, to be honest, but it just has sentimental value. Okay, so I've just added about 4 tablespoons of tahini to the bowl. I'm gonna add in my lemon juice and about a teaspoon of sweetener, just around a teaspoon, and again some salt and pepper. You could just obviously season, like add salt and pepper once you're combining everything together, but I just like to season everything bit by bit along the way, just to kind of build up the flavor, you know. So I've just mixed up this tahini sauce, and I'll show you the kind of consistency of it just now. That was a bit of a plop. This is before adding any water, so it does at first seem a little bit thin, but then once you kind of mix it up, it does thicken up a lot. So I'm gonna add some water. Okay. So I'll start off. That was way too much. I'm just gonna empty it out. Okay, so this is the consistency that I'm kind of looking for. This is pretty thin, but I want it to be a thin dressing for this recipe, just to coat all the burghul and vegetables nicely. Okay, so I've got this big bowl here. This is quite a lot of ingredients, so it's obviously a few portions. So I'm just going to add in the burghul. This is quite a turmeric-y burghul. So if you don't like turmeric, or if you don't like so much, maybe add just about half a teaspoon rather than a full teaspoon. The nice thing about this recipe is that it's just one of those, you know, using up pretty much all, you know, whatever vegetables you've got left over in your fridge. Obviously it's super easy to put together, and you can just use whatever vegetables you like. So I've added in my burghul and my vegetables, and I'm just going to add in my chickpeas. Lovely. And then I've also got my, just about a handful each of freshly chopped parsley and freshly chopped mint that I'm going to add in. So I'm just going to mix this up, and then I'm going to check it for seasoning, and I'm also considering adding just a touch of olive oil. But I'm going to see what it's like and see if it needs it. Okay, so I've mixed everything up. It's looking beautiful. But I'm just going to give it a quick little taste. Oops. I think with the tahini sauce it will be perfect. I don't think it needs any olive oil or anything. Okay, so I've just served some of this little beauty up. And I've just added a little bit of extra tahini sauce, mixed it all up. And I'm going to do a final little taste. It's so good. I really, really recommend this one. I mean, of course, I think it's good. I'm making all, I'm making food I like to my taste. But I do really recommend it. It's obviously really healthy. Got a lot of great veggies in there. The chickpeas give it a really nice heartiness that I think it needs. Obviously, this makes quite a lot. So if you don't want to make as much, or you want to make just like a couple of portions or so, maybe half the recipe. But obviously this is a great one to just kind of make a big batch of and keep in the fridge for lunch or dinner for the next few days, which we're going to do here. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and happy eating.